There's something I've noticed again and again with children. When their hands are busy, connection comes naturally and without pressure. Conversation flows more easily. Memories surface without being forced. And stories come out in ways they often don't when we're sitting still trying to ask the right questions. That's what I want to talk about. How hands-on experiences can create space for family history to be taught naturally in our homes. Family history doesn't have to feel formal. It doesn't need charts or timelines or lessons that feel heavy. It can begin with something very simple. Just doing something together. In our home, we've seen this happen through hands-on play. We once colored rice and made a sensory bin for our little kids. We added small pictures of relatives, along with tiny objects that represented something about each person. We added little buckets and bowls and scoops that invited the children to dig, pour, and explore. As they discovered things, we talked about them. We helped them match a picture of a relative to their name. We talked about why an object belonged with that person. Nothing was rushed. Nothing was tested. It was just discovery. And in that discovery, family stories found a place to land. Celebrating ancestors has also taken simple hands-on forms in our family. Sometimes it's looked like baking a birthday cake to honor an ancestor's birthday. One time, while making a cake together, one of the kids turned the mixer on a little too high before the ingredients had time to settle, and flour and sugar flew up out of the bowl and into the air. It was messy, but it was memorable. We laughed, we cleaned up together, and we kept going. That moment became part of the memory, not just of baking, but of being together. Music is another place where stories surface easily for us. Music has always mattered in our family. We have instruments we don't play particularly well, yet, but the kids love trying. They explore sounds, they experiment, and while they do, stories come out. Stories about ancestors who played music, what instruments were common, what songs were sung. It's not about skill, it's about participation. The same thing happens in our garden. Simple tasks like working in the soil, planting seeds, and pulling weeds often open the door to stories about ancestors who worked the land. My great-great-grandparents were farmers. My grandma once shared a memory of helping in tomato fields as a young child. If a tomato was too ripe, she would squish it in her hands to remove the green residue left from picking. That small detail stayed with me, and when my children work in the garden, those kinds of stories come back, not because I planned to tell them, but because the work invited them. Hand sewing is another meaningful, hands-on experience. For many ancestors, sewing wasn't a hobby. It was a necessary skill. Clothing had to be mended, and fabric had value. When children and teens learn to sew by hand, slowly and imperfectly, it connects them to generations who worked the same way. It builds patience, it builds coordination, and it builds respect for the work that came before. All of these experiences share something in common. They keep hands busy, they lower pressure, and they make room for stories. Children don't need to be asked to remember family history. They need opportunities to experience it. That's the heart behind the hands-on activities we use in our home. Over time, we found ourselves reaching for simple tools that helped create these kinds of moments. One of those tools is a set of simple playdough mats that we made for families. They aren't meant to teach facts or test knowledge. They're meant to support moments like these, where hands are shaping and building and stories begin to surface naturally. The mats are designed around everyday scenes like gardens, kitchens, quilts, orchards, and streams, places where family memories tend to live. If you'd like to explore them, we've made the Play-Doh mats available as a free resource on our blog, which is linked below. There's no right way to use them. Sit nearby, share a memory when one comes to mind, listen when your child shares theirs, let the stories wander. Because when hands are busy, stories come out. And these stories, messy, joyful, ordinary, are how family history stays alive. Thanks for being here with us and for choosing connection in the small, everyday moments. I'll see you next time as we continue building family engagement, one shared experience at a time.